Hi, my name is Chipemba Wacha, and me and my partner, Quincy Donka, will be presenting on Atom. Atom is a text editor that is similar to the likes of Visual Studios, VS Code. Uh, Atom is geared towards coding, and so most of its users are the likes of us, so software developers, people that sort of do more coding than text editing. Atom is highly hackable, meaning each user could set it up in a specific way that only they want to use it. And so, depending on two users, could set up the same program application in two different ways, which is very applicable as no two users or two programmers have the same coding styles. Atom is open source, which means uh, anybody that has an input and is vetted by the public. And so Atom was built on Electron. Uh, Other applications that have been built on Electron are the likes of Microsoft Teams, Twitch, and so on. Atom is similar to Visual Studio Code, but differs in the sense that Atom comes with less functionality, and like mentioned before, it being hackable, when it starts, it comes with fewer uh, functionalities, allowing the user to then add on what exactly they'll want to use, as opposed to starting off with everything. Which brings us to what we'll be talking to you about, which is our focus research question. How does Atom package snippets work, and what is the main design pattern that is followed in the snippets package? And so, because Atom doesn't come with everything, each user can then add on what they want to use. And so, what we'll be discussing to you, or what we'll be sharing with you, is the snippets package. So, Atom, yeah, on the next slide. So Atom is a highly modifiable code editor that encourages the user to customize the program to their liking. So this comes back to the Atom being hackable. So each user can then build on the default that they get from Atom, which is fairly smaller than compared to other text editors that come with everything, and the user can then use what they want. With Atom, a user then builds Atom to how they want to use it with the functionalities that they need. So Atom comes with packages, default packages that anyone can use, but at the same time allows for any user to make their own package. And so our research project focuses on stock packages, which is snippets. So each and every Atom application comes with snippets, but each user can make their own snippet, as we'll discuss later. So snippets are typable prefixes which expand on more code. So as programmers ourselves, we tend to find the certain code that we constantly write over and over again. And so what snippets does is it allows for the user to take a code that they're constantly writing, say if it's outputting a message, if it's taking specific information at the beginning of any program. Snippets allow the user to then put that information in a type of prefix, which then they can expand on. So these snippets and then can then be saved. So each package comes with its own snippets, and snippets are saved per that package. And so when one user is using a certain package, and say for instance, certain code is used highly in that package, that package will have its own snippets, and the user can then add on more snippets if if they find they need more, or can use the default ones. So here we have an example of a of a file format of a snippet. So on the first line you have the source, and so this tells the the program of the application as to where this snippets will be used. So say for instance, so the example we have is a JS source, meaning the snippet could be used in any JavaScript file, as opposed to if you were in a HTML file or CSS file, this snippet could then not be used. So you have the the name of the snippet, which in this case is log, and then you have the prefix of of the snippet, which is log as well. So what this means is, in the code, when a user is typing out or coding, and they then write down the word log, the program then knows that, if in a JavaScript file, the program then knows that log is a prefix for the snippet named log, and so it then expands from log. You then get, and so sorry, and so once the user types down log, it then expands and knows to say the user wants to type console.log, and that's how snippets work. So the user then just types out log and console.log. So a snippet file format consists of a source, a name, and a source, a name, a prefix, and a body. So the most left key in this is a source, which will then be followed by the name of the snippet, which is then followed by the prefix, which is then followed by the body. Okay, so in this example, you see that our source is source.js, and then we have the name of the snippet, which is log, and then we have the prefix, which is log. Prefix, which then means that the user, once the user types the text log in the editor, the program and the application knows that if this is under, if it's in a JavaScript file, as this is, the program will then know to expand from the body, which in this case would be console.log, into the user's code. The source, which is source.js, means this snippets could be used in any JavaScript file as opposed to any other type of file. So say if somebody was coding CSS or HTML and they typed down log, it wouldn't, the snippet wouldn't pop up. It wouldn't expand into the body, as because the source is a JavaScript source. From the example, you can see that one can have as many snippets as they want under the same source. So for us, we have another one which is console error. That's the name of another snippet whose prefix is error. And so once the user types error in the text editor, the program then knows to expand that to say console error.log, which will then log out some error of some sorts. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Chipemba. I'm gonna take it away from here. But yeah, so here I'm gonna talk about the design patterns. So the design pattern that we found that the um, snippets package follows is the command design pattern. And the command design pattern has the following participants. It would have an abstract command. It would then also have a concrete command, which is the implementation of a real command that exists. We then have a client, which sets the concrete command receiver, so it sets which object will be affected by the command's execution. You also have an invoker, which is the object that acts the command to execute the command. And then you also have the receiver, which is the object that receives the results of the command. So it's the object that is affected by the command's actions. Here, I drew a class diagram, a simple one, um, just so you can have a quick overview of what we're going to be going into. So we have the class diagram here. You'll probably notice has no abstract member because um, there's only one command in this entire package. So I guess it wouldn't make sense to have like an abstract when you're not going to be having any multiple inheritance. There's not like multiple commands that you need to account for. It's only the one command. So there's only one concrete command. Also, it's written in JavaScript, which doesn't really have like base integration for abstract classes like C would have or like Java would have. You can do it in JavaScript, but it's a little bit different. So yeah, there's just a concrete command here, and we also have the snippet. So yeah, that's the command. Snippet.js, that's the client file or the client. It has a function called insert. There's many more functions that are in the file to do various different things that the snippet needs to do. Um, but this is a sort of to stay in within the reach of our research focused question. I'm just taking the things that will matter to us most. So we have the insert, um, the client, and then you have snippet in action, which is the invoker. So the invoker has this transact function which will set the receiver. I mean, sorry, not set the receiver. It will ask the snippet, the command to execute. Um, and the snippet will set the receiver, as you can see with the cursor. And this has a snippet as the invoker and the cursor here in one function in the client. And then you have the cursor object, which represents, the cursor in Atom, the programming cursor, wherever you are, typing that cursor. Um, yeah. So here we have the concrete command object. Um, Again, as I previously stated, there is only one kind of command, so there is no abstract command because there's only one, there is no need for multiple inheritance. So again, there's no abstract command. This is found in the file snippet.js, and here is the actual class. There is the name that we talked about earlier, the prefix, the body text, the description, the URL. There's a lot more stuff here that is not found in the exact snippet.cson file that we talked about, but it's in other various parts of the packet package. Sorry. Yeah, so that's found in snippet.js. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that file on GitHub so I can show you guys, give you maybe a better idea of what I'm talking about here. So here I'm just gonna set this to be my Chrome if I can. There. Okay, cool. So here my Chrome. This is the GitHub, and here is stuff. So you'll see here um, it begins with some acquires. These are just sort of like includes, but the JavaScript version of includes. So it's getting some stuff from other files. You can see it's doing stuff with tab stops, which in reading the code, it seems that there's a lot of trouble with that and getting that to work with the tabs. But then here we have class snippet, which is the object we're talking about, and it exports it so that other files in this folder can access the snippet object. And here again is what I copied into my PowerPoint, as you can see. And yeah, that's basically it. That's the most important part of this file. A pretty short file, not that many lines of code, not even 100. But there's some stuff here. Again, tabs seem to be a very important thing that this package has to deal with. So here we have the concrete command. which is the snippet command, the name, the prefix, the body text, what we talked about in the CSON file. It gets these members from that CSON file. So um, back to um, the PowerPoint. All right. So back to the PowerPoint. We are now going to go to the next participant, which is the client. As you know from the participants, the client is the participant which creates the concrete example here. So here you will here you see in this, and it's also in the file snippet.js. So here you'll see in this insert function there is a snippet editor and cursor, as was in the diagram, as you know explained before. It does a bunch of stuff, but the most really important thing here is this return new snippet expansion, snippet editor cursor, and this. So basically, what this is doing is this is going to create the snippet based off of this information here that it puts into the constructor, and then it will set it up so that it can be able to set its receiver, which is the cursor, which I will show in the file, just so you guys can get a better idea of what I'm talking about here and the greater context. Snippet, that is in the snippets, right? .js here. Just Control F for insert. Okay. So here you will see in this file we have the definition for the function snippet, which gets called earlier in the snippet.js um, um, program. But yeah, this is the definition here, as again as I talked about, and it gets called here. If I type in insert, let's go to the first one. Provided snippets is where it's called. It's inserting there. Oh no, that's wrong. Here it gets called here, in which it's inserting and setting the receiver. So the part where it creates the snippet is up here. It creates a bunch of objects. It also creates an expansion and the snippet, invoker, and um, well, the command itself. And as you can see, the require, it's getting that export from the object. The export. If you don't know about what require means in JavaScript, it's the same thing as this is like importing, and this export is like making it available for export, making it so that you can require and get this um, this object right here. And you know that the invoker is, well, so here we are at the invoker. The invoker is one of the participants of the command design pattern, which acts the command to execute the command, in this case the snippet. So if you look here at this line, there's a lot of stuff here, but the main important one is here, and it's even commented, insert the snippet body at the cursor. So what's happening is constantly range. This function returns a range, and it is inserting the body at the cursor. So this cursor dot selection dot insert text is a function of the cursor, and in that it takes text, and the text is the body here. And the body is referring to the text body of the um, command, of the snippet. So again, as how we previously mentioned, every snippet has a body and it has a name and a prefix. This is, the transaction function, in which it's sort of doing the sort of transaction of information between the snippet and the cursor. So this is in the snippet expansion file. There's nothing much else really in that file that I feel like I need to show you, so I think we're just going to skip that one. And this is the only important piece of code there. Um, in conclusion, the Atom package snippet works by using CSON files to store various snippets, and the snippet package uses the design pattern called command. So those were the where that was the main two questions of our research project is how is it able to know which prefixes you want and for which body, for which body of text, and we figured that out using learning about the CSON files in which you have, I'll go back up to it, in which you have the source, which refers to what types of files this prefix will work for. You will then have the name, the prefix, and the body, you know. And so prefix, you type log, then this will come out, console.log crash. This one called error, prefix error. This one will come out console.error crash. Yeah, so you'll have that. And we then learned that he used command by looking at just the code in the library folder section of the snippet package, looking at how the various objects interacted and where what was called where and how are they set and what are all the various different objects and modules involved in this program. And yeah, we came to the conclusion that it uses command, but not really how you would think of command in a C way or a Java way, where you would have an abstract class and then multiple inheritance, and then you could have like a whole bunch of commands that do different things. And it's very easy to modify because you would just need to add a new command object to the hierarchy of children of the abstract, and then you could just code it to be included in all the commands. But again, it's only really one command. It's one snippet command, the prefix. So even in C, it would be smart to make it that way with the abstract function. It just because you never know when in the future you'll want to add more implementation. But again, JavaScript is a little bit different from C, and you can do abstract functions which can't be instantiated, but it more has to be rules that the programmer themselves puts in place into the object rather than just being a default thing in the language where if you create an abstract object, you can't instantiate it. So yeah, that's basically the entire project. Um, Thank you for listening and goodbye.